Thank you so much, Jem. Hi, everyone. How are you all doing today? It is such an honor to be in community space with all of you. First, I want to take a moment to recognize Opening Doors, the California Immigration Project, and also NorCal Resist, just for the tireless work that you all do day in and day out, holding the line and protecting our babies, our families. Again, it's an honor to be in a room full of advocates and organizers and community leaders who are leading the fight to protect our immigrant and refugee communities. Before I start, I do want to take a moment just of silence to acknowledge all of the families that have been separated, detained, and killed by ICE this year. So if you would just join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. And before I begin my keynote, I in particular want to brings back to acknowledge actually a young man the story that I've been following, Johann Sebastian Guerrero, who was 25 years young. Some of y'all may have seen this story in the news where he was among many victims that have been murdered by ICE, shot inside a moving vehicle, and then it was later discovered that Mr. Guerrero wasn't even the person that ICE was pursuing. It was another senseless murder, no accountability, no oversight, just violence meant to terrorize our communities. Among the many heartbreaking things about Mr. Guerrero's murder is that he did everything he was supposed to do, everything that was asked of him. He filed asylum, he had a work permit, he followed all the laws, and it didn't matter because the root of the problem is simple, and is that we have an agency that is actually racist, and a dangerous agency that I will personally say needs to be abolished. And you can't reform an agency that is killing immigrants, citizens, and separating families and children. Deportations, the targeting of our immigrants and refugee communities isn't something that's new. Our communities have been here before. I am the proud daughter of Hmong refugees. I'm married to a son of Mexican immigrants, and yes, I'm also representing District 8 in the city of Sacramento. Mom and dad came to the US as refugee fleeing war and genocide in Southeast Asia. They came here seeking a better life, for safety, and a chance to really rebuild after leaving everything behind. I am the oldest of 16 children, and together we were born and raised in South Sacramento. Growing up, like so many immigrants and refugees, we didn't have much, but we had each other, and we had community that took care of one another and showed up for one another. I know that I am who I am today because of the community that actually raised me, the public school that gave me the opportunities, and the families whose resilience actually inspires me each and every day. My experience growing up in South Sacramento shaped how I understand my responsibility as an elected representative. And today, that responsibility feels especially heavy and urgent because of the communities that raised me is now under attack. So that's not just my story, but across Sacramento, there are so many daughters and sons of refugees, of immigrants, trying to balance school, work, caring for siblings, and help their mom and dad keep their house together. And the fear created by militarized immigration enforcement ripples through all of it. Parents are afraid to go to work. My students are afraid to go to school. Families are afraid to seek help. Mothers are being separated from their babies, and families have been torn apart. And people here in Sacramento are living in fear. This year, I had accompanied several family members at the Moss building. Sometimes when I go with them, I'm afraid it might be the last time that I'm gonna see them. And I know that it's a feeling that so many of our families are going through. As an Asian American, as a Hmong daughter, I wanna give you some numbers because no one and no community is actually immune to this terror. Last year, ICE arrests in California went up 386%. Among Asian American and Pacific Islanders in California, they went up about 1,000%. The top 5 countries of origins for those arrests were India, China, Vietnam, and Laos. Laos, the country that my parents fled. We were told when we came here, and we were told right now that ICE is doing what they're supposed to do, is to target criminals, that it would reduce crime or magically reduce the cost of housing. This year, over 64% of Asian American Pacific Islander in California were arrested by ICE, and they had no criminal record. The system said, if we work hard, we stay quiet, and if we didn't make any trouble, we'd be left alone. But it didn't work. There is no amount of quiet that actually makes you safe. There is no paperwork that works as a shield. If it can happen this fast to us, it can happen to anyone. And it is happening right now with our neighbors. And yes, this is a fight to protect our immigrant neighbors and friends, but it's also a fight about what kind of community we want to be. Do we want to be a Sacramento where people are afraid to go to work, afraid to send their kids to school, afraid to ask for help? Or do we want to be a Sacramento where our neighbors know when they are in crisis, we stand up for them? The lessons I have learned in this fight is that we cannot wait for someone else to come save us, including waiting on electeds. We've seen congressional inaction, electeds even at the local level, not bold enough to take a stance on abolishing ICE. When the federal government attacks our rights and our liberty, we are the only ones that have to hold the line. We do that through community, through mutual aid network, through volunteering, by sharing accurate information so our neighbors know where they can turn for help, by supporting organizations like NorCal Resist, who are on the ground every day doing this work, or like Opening Doors. And yes, that also includes holding mayor and council, and myself included, to accountable measures to meet the needs of our community. We've seen this, that it's happening. We're doing everything we can. At the council level, members of the Phil Network, NorCal Resist, Asian American Liberation Network, Opening Doors, Decarcerate Sacramento, and so many more are connecting people with resources, information, advocacy, and support every single day. And yes, as a city councilwoman, local government has a responsibility to do our part too. Over the past year, I have worked alongside my colleagues, advocates, and city staff to strengthen Sacramento protections and to advocate for more funding for the Phil Network. Yes, we unanimously adopted an updated immigration policy. We advanced protection restricting the use of city property and for federal immigration enforcement. And yes, we developed a Sacramento Community Action Plan to ensure that we actually have a more coordinated, proactive response when enforcement activity impacts our communities. This work does build on Sacramento's long sanctuary city policies, which remains actually a subject of litigation, of ongoing litigation. But I also want to pause, and I want to take a moment to acknowledge that there's actually a lot more work to be done than just passing these policies. Passing policies cannot be the end of our work. Advocates are demanding that we do more. We need to continue examining where our protections can be stronger, reevaluate our relationships with federal partnerships, and ensuring that city data is truly protected. We need to continue to ask more of the city, what can we do to strengthen, and what does it really mean to be a sanctuary city? And sometimes that might mean me pushing my colleagues in the region to question and change current policies that we may sometimes not agree with. That means questioning federal partnerships and joint task force that we're still part of. That means interrogating our own city policies and practices to ensure that we are not colluding with this authoritarian government. And that means holding the line for the people, making sure that protections we put on paper actually translate to meaningful protections for our communities. My parents came to this country as refugees. They built a life here because they believe this could be a place where their children could be safe and have opportunities they never had. I carry that history with me every day, and I take it as life lessons for the work that I do. All of it I do not take for granted. All of us have a role in protecting the promise that brought so many of our families here. We come from different backgrounds, we carry different stories, we share the same neighborhoods, schools, workplaces, communities, and when one of us is threatened, all of us have a stake in what happens next. So my call to everyone here is very simple. It's just, do not look away. Don't become numb, especially if you're on social media and the analytics is all you see is negative news all the time. Don't become numb to it and recognize that there is still so much power in people. Get involved, volunteer, share resources, support the organization on the ground doing this work, and check in on your neighbors. Because at the end of the day, it's so true what they say, or what I have always said, is that we are all we have. No one is coming to save us but us. It means we have to make sure that our people are not alone. It means we have to show up for one another, fight for one another, and refuse to leave anyone behind. There is no good immigrant or bad immigrant. They're all immigrants, and we have to do our very best to protect every single person. It means protecting human dignity, safety, and humanity of our neighbors, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. So I want to take this moment to say thank you for all that you are doing. Whether you're a nonprofit, an advocacy group, you're part of a local government or agency, thank you for showing up in your own ways to fight for our immigrant and refugee communities. And truly, I'm incredibly honored to be in this fight with all of you, especially as someone who's an elected official on the dais. What I will tell to all of you is I actually think the folks that are doing the most work, especially in these moments, are the advocates on the ground. City council oftentimes is limited to rules and regulations, although I would push my colleagues on those because our administration has no respect for the rule of law. But really, the folks that are doing the work are the advocates, are the nonprofits, are our churches. They're the ones leading this fight. And as elected officials, our job is to fund them, to elevate their work, and to make sure that they have everything they can to do and to protect our community. So thank you for the great work that you're doing, and I'm so honored to be in this fight with all of you.